Alexander was unable to fulfill her request. She then transformed into a mermaid and lived in the Aegean Sea. So he couldn't keep her, I guess.
Couldn't make her immortal?
Right. So then she just turned into a mermaid, which, I don't know.
Are mermaids immortal?
Yeah, could you imagine what the little mermaid looked like whenever she aged? Like, ugh. Yeah. Also, she was like, you know what the problem with that movie is?
Let me tell you the problem with the Little Mermaid.
I have a problem with the Little Mermaid, okay? Hello and welcome aboard, explorers. My name is Chris, and we're going to go on a little journey today together. But first, I want to introduce the co-captain of my captain. I think I'm the captain. So welcome the co-captain of my captain, the second mate to my first mate, Jordan.
Hi.
Welcome again. In episode, what is this, 40 or something? 30 some?
31 maybe?
Oh, okay. Never jumped ahead there. But thank you for being here.
Sure, yeah.
And
thanks for having me, Chris.
I'm glad you stuck with me this whole time. These bumpy rides we go on every week. And thank you to the people out there if you're watching this.
We're listening.
Or listening. Come along with us. How was your week?
It was fine.
Do anything fun?
I'll tell you what, man, my allergies, do you get allergies? Like,
I get them at the end of summer when stuff's dying. I don't get them at the beginning of the summer.
Man, like, they've been killing me. I had a really bad nosebleed the other day at work.
You don't want that.
No, man. It was
What'd
terrible.
you do?
What did I do? Luckily, I was the only one there at that point because it was like right at close.
You just leave it all in the leave it all over the place.
It's like, you deal with it tomorrow.
Yeah.
Dude, it was bad. And I was so dry and like, I was like, I still need to blow it. And the dude is just like,
well, don't blow it.
I had to, man. I couldn't like breathe.
With the blood?
Well, no, I was blowing my nose, and then that's when it started happening.
Oh God.
Everywhere.
I don't get him that bad. I just get stuffy, a little stuffy nuffy.
Luckily, I was like over the sink in the bathroom when it happened, so it was easy.
It's like someone murdered someone in there.
I just left it like.
Yeah, that's the worst.
But like, put up a couple like bullet cases down.
Oh God.
Bloody knife.
So much blood.
So much blood.
I sneezed. There was so much blood.
Yeah.
That's the worst. So you're getting the new allergies, like stuff growing.
Yeah.
I get the opposite, which kind of sucks, but you know, I guess it could be worse. I could get them both. And you know,
I remember the first time I realized I had allergies when we were doing those camps that we used to do in the summer. So this is like July. Like, I got a cold, and I had it for like 2 weeks. I
had this cold for like 17 years.
I was like, why do I have a cold in July? I remember I was using Afrin like every day for like 2 weeks. And you're not supposed to. You're only supposed to use like 3 days. Like, oh, who gets a cold in July? I was like, oh, it's probably allergies.
Yeah.
That's what I realized.
But although allergies shouldn't be in July either.
Know, man.
I think it's because we're hanging out with a bunch of kids about these camps we were teaching.
That's true too, yeah.
And kids are gross.
Very gross, yeah.
3rd graders, 4th graders, 5th graders.
Dude, I had to use so much hand sanitizer.
Yeah. And that was before like everybody was like, you should use it all the time. Wash your hands.
This is years before COVID happened.
Yeah. Those kids were gross. I don't know. I mean, kids just don't understand hygiene. It's not a big deal. They were good kids.
They don't care either. Yeah.
They all grew up. You know.
Maybe.
No, you're right. No, I think having allergies sucks. The world hates humans.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I always think it's interesting how like the world wants to kill us at all times, humans, in every special way.
Cleansing every couple generations.
And it's not even that, like, I think it's just in general, like your house. Like if you have a house or a building you live in, your home, that thing isn't supposed to be there.
No.
And the earth, the planet wants it, like, will do everything in its power to take it back, to destroy it. It's crazy how quick that happens if you don't, like, you don't take care of stuff like your home. It's always a constant effort of like, just like weeds growing on your house, like the animals, the plants. You have a tree that grows in your house, moss that grows on your roof. You're done. You're done for.
Yeah.
Dunzo.
Ever seen how like crazy it was like during COVID, like how some of these like like bodies of water, or like even like rivers and like streams like bounce back. There wasn't like much pollution.
Oh yeah, the how resilient the Earth actually is in some ways.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
Well, we shouldn't be doing it in the first place. The way we do things. But I mean, think about how I would like to watch the when people are like building when they're taking down these factories that have been there for 60 years, 50 years, and they're like, oh, stuff's not growing here anymore. Yeah, no crap. A steel manufacturing facility on it for years. Of course, it's all gross. But it's super interesting when you look at all of the. It's a bad thing, but like I love to hear this. I like to understand and research about like the nuclear age, like the dawn of the nuclear age, when there are all these factories in America were like, refining or not refining. What's that called? I'm losing it. Whenever they were making the uranium, they were in what's that called when they make it better? They make it more potent. Enrichment. The enrichment facilities all around the United States. Like, there's a lot of great stories out there and like documentaries about like how all like the amount of enriched uranium we need to build the bomb, and like where that all came from, and like kind of the story of like pits in Africa where we got it from, and it's just. But there's factories all around the United States who are enriching this stuff, and they're like, "Hey, this stuff's actually really bad for humans." It's like whenever they were like, "Oh, this lead paint's really bad for humans. We should stop building it." Like now, like if you tear down a house or tear down a wall and there was lead paint in there, you're supposed to like stop everything, close it off, like call the EPA and stuff, because
it's bad for you.
Yeah, but we're here to talk about something else that's pretty bad for you.
Really?
Because, well, it depends.
Is this a dark one?
No, I don't know. It got dark.
Okay.
It got dark. When I started, I was like, this is going to be a happy, good, lucky time.
You say it got dark because it was more thorough than you thought? Or more overwhelming?
So if you're keeping up with us, you know that the last couple episodes that I did were about the Zodiac Killer. With our special guest, Bunker Brian.
Of Bethlehem.
And Cream Team. So you go back, watch those, follow those guys, listen to Bethlehem, buy their music. There's a new album coming out soon maybe.
Yeah.
I've heard. They've been working on it for a while. But I thought after that, like whole hell of putting that whole episode together, pages and like 30, 40, 50 pages of notes I had, I'm gonna do something fun, easy, fun,
light,
little light, you know. And I found out that the topic we're going to talk about this week turned into this giant balloon of crap. Good crap. Crap you like.
Fertilizer.
Yeah. But like, it's the way deeper than I ever thought it would actually be.
Really?
Yes. And this week, we are going to take a dive, if you will, a belly flop maybe,
all right,
into the cryptids world.
Cryptids. Oh, we're starting that now.
Our first cryptids episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, cryptids. So when I said light episode, easy, silly, dumb, I stumbled upon a cryptid episode, right? Cryptids episode. Okay.
What cryptid?
Good question. And thank you for asking it. It's a very, very cute question you asked there.
Very cute question.
Okay. So
a little sweetie pie question.
It's common theory, and most people would think that when you hear stories about this cryptid, that it was probably sailors misidentifying something in the waters.
Okay. Oh, all right. We're doing that. All right. Nice.
Maybe a sea monster of sorts? Maybe not. Maybe it was a person swimming out there. You know, who knows?
Manatee.
Could be. Things like sea lions, walruses, whales. There was, in last week's episode, we talked about the Nazca lions. Were there any mermaids on those on those hills in the desert?
There were not, but I like that.
We're going to be talking about
The Little Mermaid.
We're going to reenact the Little Mermaids shot by shot. That cartoon was awesome.
Yeah.
I never saw the live action one. I'm sure it's great. I would like to see it. I don't know.
I don't think I've really watched any of the live action ones because I'm like, don't ruin this for me.
They're okay. I think there haven't been any that were bad.
The Lion King, that's not really.
That was pretty good.
Yeah.
It was not live action.
Yeah,
It was just a different animation method. Action. Yeah. It was a more modern animation.
Yeah.
They're supposed to be doing Moana eventually, I think.
I'd like to see that. That'd be cool.
They're doing Moana 2. They just announced.
That's I like Moana a lot.
Yeah, so I haven't seen The Little Mermaid. Like to. I know it's been out for a while. Just haven't gotten around to it. I have kids. My daughter was like, this is scary. I was like, all right, well, sorry. But she liked the original one, so I don't know what the hell's going on. Anyway, kids are fickle. We're going to be talking about the mermaids, not the Little Mermaid. I almost said the Little Mermaid. We're talking about mermaids, the cryptids, the cryptids, not the Little Mermaid, the cryptids, the mermaid, the topic.
So, I never knew mermaids were part of the cryptid thing, but it makes sense.
Yeah. Watch me get that wrong, but it's cryptid. I don't know what signifies something as a cryptid.
Yeah, isn't it just like a
mythical thing?
Yeah. Not necessarily mythical, but like
let's look it up.
Species of animal that like, I don't know.
Cryptids are animals that cryptozoologists believe may exist somewhere in the wild, but not whose present existence is disputed or unsubstantiated by science.
Okay.
So I would think that it would be a cryptid. We're gonna go with that. And if you don't like it, send me a comment. I'd love to hear from you. We can invite me on your podcast. Something. I don't know. Yeah. But some of the earliest kind of records of this cryptid, we'll call it, again, dates back to even 3000 BCE.
Oh, okay.
And not only that,
far back. All right.
Not only that, again, I thought this would be a fun episode. I found instead this internet hole filled with ancient cultures, historical retellings, medieval art, true believers across time and space from the beginning of time almost.
Jeez.
The legend of mermaids, mermen, or merpeople,
all right,
or merman,
and
some people have called it in the past, have circulated for millennia. Tales of half human, half fish have been found in legends from, and this is a list, but we're not going to go through all these. But we're not going to go through all these like specifics. But these are the list of these legends have come from, which gets to my point in a second. I promise it's going somewhere. Don't turn us off. Don't hit the stop button or move to the next video. I know that video on the side there looks cool, or the other podcast, or like your person comes over to your desk and you're like, hold on, man, I'm listening.
No, I'm really working.
I'm busy. Legends from cultures like ancient Babylonians, Polynesians, ancient Sumerians, Phoenicians, Sumerians, the Greeks, the British Isles, Icelandic folklore, Japanese folklore, Chinese folklore, Iranian mythology, African lore, Irish folklore, Scandinavian folklore, Southeast Asian folklore, Korean folklore, Germanic tales referring to the creatures as swan maidens, and...
Did you say Sumerians twice? Or Syrians? So you said Syrians.
Assyrians, yeah. Is Assyrians and Assyrians, and I said Sumerians.
Yeah.
Phoenicians, Babylonians. Were the Syrians? Assyrians. Was that ancient Syria?
Oh.
I don't know how to answer that.
I don't either.
Because there's also...
I feel like I should know that.
The Iranian mythology. Like, was that one of those other ones?
Well, Iran is Persia's modern day Iran.
So more of a Persian.
Yeah.
So I should say Persian instead of Iranian mythology. It's labeled. Some of the readings I did, it says Iranian and it also says Persian. So that makes sense why they would. They shouldn't be using those so haphazardly. But again, okay. So we're gonna go back. German tales referred to them as swan maidens. Well, you look that up. Old Norse, not Old Nurse. Old Norse referred to them as Sojkanar. And mermaids were even decorations of medieval churches in the British Isles.
All right.
Christian churches. In medieval
Christian
times.
churches.
Yeah. These tales Even tales, you like that? Tales?
I see you did
These
there.
tales even include stories about our buddy Alexander the Great.
Oh, right.
Yes, you remember him.
Call
you remember
back.
him? You know what he was like? And his soldiers, Alexander the Great and his soldiers, having multiple encounters with them, specifically in the writings saying people living in the sea. These manuscripts document Alexander's soldiers even capturing 2 of them. So, with all this documentation, what is really going on? Were mermaids ancient humanoid creatures who went extinct or maybe even still hiding in our oceans due to dangers humans pose to their existence?
Mm.
What do you think? Before we get started on this, what do you think? What do you think? What do you think? Let me think. Where do you think I'm going with this? Where do you think it's going to end up? Where are we at the end where you're going to be like, oh, God, this is crazy. Oh, Chris, you're so smart. Okay.
Does any of this have to deal with Atlantis?
No, but that'd been great.
Yeah.
No, Atlantis never. I don't think it ever came. There are places where I'm like, oh my God, this is where they got Aquaman. Like that makes total sense. And some of these stories we're going to go over.
All right.
Do you think? Would you have thought the Little Mermaid was as deep as it was?
Wait, what?
Did you think the Little Mermaid, the backstory of the Little Mermaid, was as deep as it is?
Well, I don't know how deep it is.
I'm saying it is deep. I just told you all the places it came from.
Well, yeah, okay, right.
Hans Christian Andersen really brought this forward to us. That's the guy that wrote the original one.
Okay.
That Disney stole or whatever.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Hans Christian Andersen.
I mean, I feel like they usually.
I mean, it's weird because like all of his stuff is like the thing they base a lot of their movies on, like Frozen.
Yeah.
Little Mermaid,
I know Little Mermaid was one of
the
those.
other ones. There's other ones too. I just don't care.
And the other ones.
Yeah, the other ones. All right. So what I found crazy about this was like it came from such
a rich background.
Yeah. So I'm just going to put this out right front. I'm going to be saying mermaid and siren.
Like interchangeably?
Not interchangeably because they come from different cultures.
Yep.
But they're also used interchangeably in specific cultures.
Okay. All right.
So when I say mermaids, merpeople, or mermen, or mermen, or merwif.
Merwif?
Yeah, I don't know. Throughout this episode.
Stinky mermaid?
Yeah. That's when you get a whiff of them. You're like, there's a mermaid around here somewhere. At some point, the siren tale got tangled into it, and there's a backstory to that, which we'll get into. And it was some point in the Greek mythology.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes.
The Western concept of mermaids are as beautiful, seductive singers may have been influenced by the sirens of Greek mythology. So we'll get into what that means in a minute, probably. So we're going to go to our first. So I'm going to go through a bunch of different examples and some cultures from different cultures in different times. There's a couple of very specific examples that we're going to go over first, the ancient ones, and then we'll get into just general cultures. Like we're going to talk about the ones that were in Africa, the ones that were in, just to kind of mention all those and what they were actually about.
Okay.
So the one of the first was it's not. Here's the thing. It's weird because it's not said as one of the first written ones. It's one of the first told histories. It's not one of the first written histories.
Okay.
Written records. So then we're going to start with the Voyage of the Argo, 3rd century BCE. Was written by Apollonius of Rhodes. Apollonius of Rhodes. We'll go with that. His work includes mermaids as naiads or water spirits. Shortly after Alexander the Great conquered Syria around 333 BCE, Atagartis, along with other deities, fused with Hellenistic deities and Greco-Macedonian lore.
All right.
When the crew of the Argo temporarily disembarks, Haliaeus, a young boy adopted by Hercules, encounters these water spirits while searching for water. When the Argo's crew temporarily disembarks, Haliaeus, a young boy, finds a spring from which a naiad appears, kissing Haliaeus and pulling him into the spring as a kind of abduction. All right, we're going to start with the Epic of Gilgamesh, which is the earliest known mermaid story in written form. It's an ancient story, I should say, from Assyria, dating back to between 2100 and 1000 BCE.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
The story is found in the Assyrian epic poem known as the Epic of Gilgamesh, one of the earliest living surviving works of literature. In tablet 11, which is XI, right?
Yep.
Okay, good. Of the Epic of Gilgamesh, there's a brief account of Gilgamesh's journey to the bottom of the sea in search of the secret of immortality.
All right.
During his quest, Gilgamesh encounters a sea creature known as the Old Man of the Sea, who tells him the story of a great flood and offers him sage advice. While the creature encountered by Gilgamesh is not explicitly described as a mermaid, this encounter represents one of the earliest literary depictions of a humanoid creature associated with the sea in ancient literature.
All right.
So, there we go. Number one.
He was warning him of an impending flood coming?
He tells him a story of the Great Flood, which I guess is
right.
I don't really know a lot about the Epic of Gilgamesh. I just know that people talk about it.
Well, like throughout history, like even religions, there's always like stories of a great flood.
And that's what goes back to the thing we talked about last episode, the Younger Dryas.
Oh, okay. Right.
Maybe that some people say that things like that could have happened, where like these ice walls were retreating and things were.
Okay.
So certain cultures may have had those things happening. I'm not really sure on that one though, but I know that's kind of described in a lot of literature. After that, we have the Lauriston water goddess, which was, I think, part of. It's labeled as Iranian mythology, but also part of Mesopotamia, I believe.
Okay.
Specifically, in Iranian mythology, is a water goddess with braided hair, bisected fishtails, and was evoked as calls for infertility. So people would ask for, to be fertile or to have a child, I guess.
Idiots.
Yeah. Next, we're going to jump to 1000 BCE with the Atagardis, which was a goddess accidentally. So Atagardis was a goddess in Assyria, 1000 BCE. A goddess is known or understood to have accidentally killed a human she loved, and then she jumped into the water to hide her shame. And her godly beauty could not be concealed, so she transformed into a creature with a human upper body and a fish tail.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah. Next is the 725 to 675 BCE, one of the oldest legends of sirens coming from the ancient Greek mythology. In book number 12 of Homer's Odyssey, Circe, is it Circe? Is that Circe? Circe.
Yeah.
Circe warned Odysseus.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Of the sirens he would encounter on his sea journey back to Ithaca. Odysseus followed Circe's advice and managed to resist the siren's charms by plugging his sailor's ears with beeswax. But Odysseus still wished to hear the sirens.
Chris.
Yeah. Mine did, that's why I jam it in there. Hear the sirens. Odysseus still wished to hear the sirens, so he tied himself to the ship's mast to stop himself from being lured by the sirens, and then turning the ship into the rocky waters where they were. So
bold move.
Yep. We're going to jump to, again, we're going to jump to the 3rd century, which is the Voyage of the Argo, written by Apollonius of Rhodes. This work introduces the mermaids as naiads or water spirits. Shortly after Alexander the Great conquered Syria around 333 BCE, Atagardis, the one I mentioned earlier, along with other deities, fused with Hellenistic deities and the Greco-Macedonian lore. So when the crew of the Argo temporarily disembarks, Helios, a young boy adopted by Hercules, encounters these water spirits while searching for water. Helios finds a spring from which a naiad appears, kissing Helios and pulling him into the spring in a kind of abduction. Yeah. Terrifying out there.
Cool for him? I don't know.
All right, that was 3rd century BCE. We're going to jump to the 1st century BCE. This is what's known as Decurto. And the Greeks recognize Atagardis in their own mythology as Decurto. I don't know if I'm saying those words right. Sorry. The ancient Greek historian Diodorus Siculus mentioned Atagardis as having the face of a woman and otherwise entire body of a fish. Atagardis is considered the first mermaid in written records, but we know that Epic of Gilgamesh talked about some kind of water beings, but not specifically like this. And we do have the Lauriston water goddess from Iran, but none like Atagardis, which then the Greeks turned into Dekerto.
Okay.
Which I hope I'm saying that word right.
It's. I mean,
what are they gonna? Some ancient Greek can come beat me up. I mean, maybe a
but this is what we do.
Greek,
We just
right?
mispronounce
Just say things. Yeah.
everything. Yeah. It's our thing.
We're gonna move on to the Mesopotamia and Old Babylonian periods. Which the reason I'm bringing this up like after the fact, because these cultures, existed around the same time as all these other stuff we talked about, but there's no records on a lot of this, like timeline wise, on what these kind of things were talked about, these beings. In ancient Mesopotamia religion and mythology, the Apkallu,
Coca-Cola,
Apkllu, were demigods, sages who were believed to have been sent by the gods to impart wisdom or knowledge to humanity. They are depicted as half human, half fish beings, sometimes in the lower body of a fish or as a fish-like creature with human heads and torsos. While they're not specifically mermaids, their hybrid form combining human and aquatic creature bears some resemblance to the concept of a mermaid in other cultures. So, seems like we're starting to build a list here of other stories that are kind of like water people from all over the world, starting around 2100 BCE.
All right.
There's some other ones I'm not going to talk about in Mesopotamia, but there is record of that, like Tiamat. It's a dragon-like creature rather than a mermaid, but it lives in the water.
Okay.
We're jumping to the Byzantine, Ottoman, Greek folklore. So a lot of the Byzantine, Ottoman, Greek folklore has sirens.
Yes.
They have a lot of sirens. The closest equivalent to the mermaids in ancient Greek mythology. They were mythical creatures depicted as part woman, part bird.
Yes. Dude, this reminds me of that episode of
What We Do in the Shadows. Yeah. Which was confusing to me when I thought about it. I was like, siren, and then I kept on seeing it, and I was like, oh, okay. So these mythical creatures were woman, part bird, with a lower body of a bird and upper body of a woman. They were known for their enchanting songs, which lured sailors to their deaths by causing them to steer their ships towards the rocky shores where sirens dwelled, which is crazy because you think about birds, will fly out into the ocean. They'll be out there, and they have that song, so that makes more sense than a fish.
Right.
Being a siren, fish thing, While sirens were not explicitly depicted as having fish tails, their association with the sea and the lore of sailors shared simulators with mermaid folklore and other cultures. So what happened was the Greeks combined their story with those they conquered, and that's how we got mermaids in that culture.
That makes sense, yeah.
Yeah. They took the sirens and basically
incorporated
combined. Yes. So in Greek mythology, Oceanids were nymphs who were believed to be the daughters of Oceanus, the primordial god of the ocean in Greek mythology again. Nereids were specific types of Oceanid nymphs associated with the Mediterranean Sea and often depicted as beautiful maidens riding alongside Poseidon's chariot attending other sea deities. This is just rad stuff we're talking about here, yeah. While Oceanids and Nereids were not typically portrayed with fish tails, where that guy, that DC comic guy comes from. They were associated with the sea, embodied its beauty and power, similar to the way mermaids often depicted it in other cultures. So again, ancient Greek mythology combined other mythologies when Alexander the Great was conquering, and he combined them, and for some reason, it got all wrapped up together.
Yeah. Over time, they get spread of information, like you're interacting with all these other cultures, you're going to assimilate some of their stuff.
Yes.
Their stories, it's how it's always gone.
Here's the other thing I forgot to mention about this. Sirens, while the Greeks were kind of had this idea of what a mermaid was, it wasn't until the Christian era when that then got combined into being a mermaid. So Greeks had these mermaid people that were under the water living, the Nereids and the Oceanids. Mm-hmm. They didn't have the fishtails.
Okay.
It was the Christian era when the Christians, for some reason, combined them.
All right.
And so sirens became mermaids as well. But the Greeks still had some types of mermaid things.
Yeah.
They just weren't fish people. They were just people that lived under the water. Yeah. So that's where it gets a little confusing. And also, again, this internet hole that I fell in with this easy episode I thought it was going to be goes insane. But it's really interesting. It was actually really fun to look at all this crap because I didn't realize it was so deep. I thought it was just someone drew a person with a fishtail.
Yeah. On a map.
Yeah, and then you have
tiny map,
and it made its way. And like then you consider like all of the popular culture, like Starbucks logo, the siren is a fishtail. It's considered a siren though.
Oh really?
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
The siren. Yeah. Proteus was a sea god and prophetic old man of the sea in Greek mythology. Also, he had the ability to change shape at will, often taking the form of various marine characters, including fishes and seals.
You know, it's funny too. Like a lot of times, like at least like Roman and Greek gods, and I'm sure this is
we're going to go over
prevalent in other, I think even like Norse mythology, but prevalent in other religions around the world. These gods would like change into animals and like, you know, mate with humans, creating a lot of these weird things.
People were very bored back then, especially the religious type. Is making stuff up.
Yeah.
A lot to do.
What was one like Zeus turned into something, some animal, and like I don't know. There's a bunch of that.
Well, there's also like that stories about like
the centaur. Like
no, I'm talking about like
how was he made?
The people went to those the prophet ladies and that were like basically just huffing the volcanic ash and stuff.
Yeah. They're hallucinating.
Yeah. So this one is goes back to our buddy Alexander the Great.
All right.
And this relates directly to him. Again, we don't know for sure. Did you, in your research, did you ever come up with someone named Thessaloniki?
I think so.
So Thessaloniki was a figure from Greek folklore who was believed to have transformed into a mermaid after death. According to legend, she was the sister of Alexander the Great.
Oh, okay.
And upon her death, she asked her brother to find a way to ensure she remain immortal. Alexander was unable to fulfill her request. She then transformed into a mermaid and lived in the Aegean Sea. So he couldn't keep her, I guess.
Couldn't make her immortal?
Right. So then she just turned into a mermaid, which, I don't know.
Are mermaids immortal?
Yeah, could you imagine what the little mermaid looked like whenever she aged? Like, ugh. Yeah. Also, she was like, you know what the problem with that movie is?
Let me tell you the problem with the Little Mermaid.
We have a problem with the Little Mermaid, okay? She said bye to her dad at the end, you know, was like, see you, Dad. And he's like giving away his daughter. He lives right next to the ocean. Her castle's on the ocean.
Yeah. You can just come up and be like, hey, how's it going?
And he can give himself legs like he did to her.
Oh, right, yeah.
He just walk up and say, what's up, dog?
Yeah. And then
Got you there, Mr. Disney.
And then if he...
Take that, Iger.
Yeah, if he gave himself legs, then he'd probably take his legs away too.
So it's not like he's giving away his daughter. He's just like, he's like saying bye to her forever. Like he's like, you gotta let her go.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
you know, the little crabby guy was like, you gotta let her go, and he's like, I don't want to let her. She's literally living next to the ocean.
Yeah,
just like she was
right up on a seahorse. Like, hey, how's your day?
You're Triton. Do it how you want. Turn the other guy into like, you know, come live down with us. Like turn him into a mermaid man.
Yeah.
Merman.
Was the other guy? Was the guy Prince? The guy she ended up marrying?
Yeah,
of course.
They're always princes. Yeah. You know, everybody says
she couldn't slum it in the ocean, so she would live up on.
I mean, she was a princess, though.
Yeah, right.
She had to marry a prince. Right. Well, you an idiot. You know what? Everybody talks about how princesses, you know, like paint. You know, they're giving little girls this false reality.
Mm-hmm.
I say, what about the little boys and princes?
Yeah.
Always getting the girl.
What about us
living in
folk?
Castles, you know? Disney's messed up. Except for Robin Hood. That one was fine, cool. I guess. I don't know. Was it? It was good.
Yeah, the Disney one? Yeah.
That's like the hipster answer to the best Disney movie.
Really?
Yeah, my wife likes that. I'm like... She's like, that's my favorite one. I'm like, that's the PBR of Disney movies.
Yeah, I can
Robin
see
Hood's the PBR Disney.
Mine, and I hope this isn't come off that way, but one of my favorite, I don't know if it's my favorite, but one of my favorite is Sword in the Stone.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Which we will do something on. I'll do something on very soon.
Oh, yeah, that guy.
Yeah.
Arthur.
Yeah.
What a weirdo. He had a mermaid, didn't he? Gave him the sword.
Yeah, threw it in the to Lady in the Water or whatever her name was. Yeah.
So there we go.
Or
Call back.
Lady in the Water.
Call ahead, whatever it is. Call ahead seating. Yeah, so we're going to jump back into the mermaids.
Where were we with this?
Okay, so Alexander's sister.
Yes.
Okay,
wanted to be immortal.
Okay, she wanted to be immortal.
Yeah.
He couldn't do that for her.
Why not? He was a god, apparently.
Right.
Why couldn't he
So
do
so maybe he was only able to muster just a little bit and like just turned like half her into a fish, like crap.
Yeah.
And then she went to the ocean. So he's living in the Aegean Sea. What she would do, the legend goes, she would ask sailors on passing ships, is King Alexander alive?
Oh.
The correct answer is he lives and reigns and conquers the world. The answer would please her, and she would she would accordingly calm the seas and say farewell, send them on their way.
All right.
However, any other answer would enrage her, and she would stir up a terrible storm, dooming the ship and every sailor on board.
I'd never heard that.
Yeah. This legend derives from an Alexander romance entitled the Philadia to bunch of one word with a lot of letters and some X's in there, and has a mega in the beginning. Mega Alexandro. Sounds like dating to the Ottoman Greece period. Okay. Here's some more connection with Alexander the Great, of course. There are multiple stories about Alexander interacting with mermaids in his conquests. According to popular legends, during his conquest, Alexander and his soldiers came across a river full of reeds where they discovered beautiful women with long hair down to their ankles. Could you imagine having a wet hair with you all the time? Your neck would hurt. Yeah.
I would take that though.
Yeah. Get out of the ocean.
I would do that all the time. Just like
never dry it. You're just dragging wet hair behind you. Everybody's like, dude.
It was like wet.
Yeah, it's like a wet dog.
Wet clothes in here.
So unfortunately, the Macedonian conquerors soon discovered that these women were not as friendly as they first seemed. They then dragged some of his soldiers underwater, embracing them until they drowned. In the Historia de Prelisis, in which Alexander's soldiers managed to capture 2 sirens above water in that story. There are other versions of the legends where Alexander and his soldiers encountered a population of mer people, naked humans who lived permanently in the sea, but were not violent or harmful to Alexander and his soldiers. Yeah.
All right.
Seems like a nice guy.
Yeah.
He's taking over the world. Dooming his sister to an eternity in the ocean. Yeah.
And then she takes her wrath out on...
At that point, you got to be like, yeah, you're right. We're going to jump to African folklore.
All right.
So, African lore, the water spirits named Mami Wata, or Mother of the Water, pretty rad, is linked to fertility, lust, and wealth.
Okay.
Just a whole gamut there. Often depicted with long hair and a mirror, symbolizing passage between water and land, Mami Wata represents a connection between past and present. Other mermaid beings within African culture and subcultures, there are legends and stories of mermaid-like beings that inhabit rivers, lakes, and other bodies of water. These creatures are often depicted as shapeshifters capable of assuming human form. So not technically mermaids, but still merge type of people. Yeah, they could
be a theme too.
Right, yeah. Some traditions, mer people, and some of these traditions from Africa, mermaid-like beings are believed to possess magical powers that can influence weather, control water, or grant wishes for those who encountered them. They could also be seen as guardians to the natural world. So, other regions of Africa, there are localized mermaid legends. It's not just an entire continent belief. It's not grouping everything together. There are local legends of the different countries and different areas within, southern, northern, and that. Even Egypt has. I tried to specifically look at Egypt, but there's not a lot there with mermaids. There's some little mentions here and there, but I think it's enough that could be really known. Yes, considering their view of gods and stuff. In Nigeria, for example, there's stories of the mommy water.
Sorry, that's really surprising considering like their dependency on the Nile.
That's what I thought too. And maybe some of these overall cultures kind of, but I don't think any of their gods that they worshipped weren't.
Sure.
I could be wrong, but I did specifically search that out.
Okay.
Maybe they're just like, too cool for it. These water people. Yeah. So again, in Nigeria, there are stories of mommy water, which are similar to mommy wada, and describes beautiful water spirits with fish-like attributes. So these are just like a grouping of things, not one specific one. There are local legends, often reflect cultural values throughout the country. The more local ones represent cultural values, spiritual beliefs, environmental context of the communities where they originate. So there's a lot of tales that are cautionary. There's ones that are more kind of hopeful, and that these forces are there to help them, whatever, and protect the environment.
Sure.
That type of stuff. How you feeling about this?
I had no idea like that this mermaids were this prominent across all these different time periods and cultures and regions.
And so so what I'm saying, when I went back again, we went to Africa from Alexander the Great. But these ones I'm going into next, including Africa, are not so much time period based, they're just like culture based or like location based, like throughout time. It could have been Mommy Wada, for example, could have been from 1600s to 1000 BCE. We don't know.
Yeah.
It's just kind of, there are records and dates for a lot of different stuff, but it's so convoluted. Our episode would be forever. Let's jump into Southeast Asia. There's Indonesian mythology, folklore includes mermaids are often known as Pertri Duong or sirens also.
All right.
They are depicted as beautiful half women, half fish creatures who inhabit the seas, rivers, and lakes of the region. Mermaids in the Indonesian folklore are sometimes portrayed as guardians of the sea, guiding and protecting fishermen and sailors. However, they can be mischievous or dangerous, luring unsuspecting humans to their watery depths. So it seems like anytime...
combination again of siren and mermaid.
Yeah, like anytime someone walks into the water and dies, the siren took them because they called them in.
Yeah.
But if they have a good harvest or a good fishing trip, like, the siren or the mermaids blessed us.
Yes.
Yeah. In Filipino folklore, mermaids were known as Sirena or Sayokoi. They are believed to inhabit the waters surrounding the Philippine Islands, often appearing as enchanted maidens of fishtails. Mermaids in Filipino folklore are associated with both positive and negative traits, just like before in the other cultures. I'm sorry. In Thai mythology, mermaids are called Payonaka or Nang Paya Nok, which translates to birdfish. They are believed to dwell in rivers, lakes, and ocean, and often depicted with bird-like features alongside their fishtails.
The siren thing again.
And so what I'm trying to figure out is like, why are people so far away a long time ago who necessarily probably weren't connected, other than maybe Alexander the Great, having these stories that combine that are having sirens and like mermaids and sirens, mer people in the ocean that are helping and hindering.
Yeah.
And we're still going. We're still going. We're like not even halfway. Polynesia. So different, the Polynesian Islands, that region of the world. Hawaiian mythology, obviously, mermaids are known as manehune, or a muo. Yeah, these creatures are often depicted as shapeshifters who can transform between human and reptilian forms, including that of a mermaid with a fishtail. Mermaids in Hawaiian folklore are associated with water spirits and guardians of the ocean. They are believed to inhabit underwater caves, pools, and coastal areas, where they may interact with humans or influence the natural world.
Was there, did you mention one? So, maybe think of, I think it's from Family Guy? There's an episode where the mermaid is like, it's like reverse, like it's the...
Oh, yeah. The feet with the mermaid head, or the fish head.
Yeah. But was there something that they kind of mentioned that earlier?
In the Hawaiian mythology?
Was it what it was?
No, they said that they can transform between human and reptilian forms, which I don't know.
Okay.
But
it's just weird because like, why wasn't that?
They can transform between half fish people too, apparently.
Okay. But why wasn't that a thing? Like, why not a fish upper half and human lower half?
I don't know.
You think someone would have, but like the fact that all they're saying it's upper human, lower.
We're gonna talk about this. This is kind of jumping ahead. I actually mentioned this. I forgot to mention this in my introduction that humans, our brains are programmed to look for faces. It's something that all humans, our brains always try to see a face in everything. That's why people see ghosts and stuff like that, because their brain's trying to make a face in the mist.
You're saying ghosts aren't real, Chris?
Not all of them. I'm saying that they could be, but I'm saying that humans, our brains,
it's like an innate thing.
It's something that a lot of research has been done. Our brains are programmed to look for faces, like a survival, call it whatever you want.
Yep.
Our brains want to do that. So that's why whenever we see things that are not human or not real, they usually have a human face in some way. Like Bigfoot, he's a human form creature, has a face. All these mermaids have faces.
Yeah.
I mean, whenever we're looking at still humanoid form. All humanoid.
Is it?
I mean, it's a humanoid.
Chupacabra?
Yeah. It's mostly dogs with mange, I think.
Yeah.
Maybe it could be a chupacabra too, but again, we always see faces because even animals have faces.
Yeah, right.
And that's why misrepresentation is a common thing in mysteries.
Okay.
Because humans see faces.
Interesting. I guess that would explain why they're...
Because they're not seeing a fish face. We're programmed to see human faces. Like, our brains want to do that no matter what.
Sure.
Okay, we're going to jump to the New Zealand, or the Maori people. Maori, Maori. Okay, thank you. Mythology of New Zealand. Mermaids are known as Taniwha. They're supernatural beings and believed to inhabit rivers, lakes, and coastal waters, and they may take on the various forms, including that of a mermaid. Okay, so New Zealand's nowhere near these other places.
Yeah.
Tahiti, in Samoan folklore, include mermaids known as Tafiti or Vitia. These mythical creatures are believed to inhabit the seas and are often depicted as beautiful and alluring beings with fish tails. So again, humanoid fish tails.
That would be such a bummer to be like, oh, this beautiful thing's calling to me.
Yeah.
And then you see the bottom half, you're like, oh, well.
I'd be like, rad.
There goes that.
Where's my phone at? Take a video of this. Mermaids in Samoan cultures, Tahiti or Tahitian cultures are associated with creation and the myths of creation. How about China?
China.
Let's jump to China. Take a ride with me. I think this is going to be the one. I think this is one of the coolest. I'll explain why.
Okay.
We'll get to there, but because it's rad. Chinese folklore describes mermaids as gentle, beautiful beings capable of turning their tears into pearls.
Oh.
Yeah, cool. Clams do that, right? How does that do that?
Clam?
How does a clam make a pearl? Is that true?
I thought oysters do that, don't they?
I don't know. There's a difference. No, oysters don't do that.
I thought they do.
Oysters taste like crap if you ate one. Like snot.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Clams.
Clams.
Yeah. Jeez.
How do they make that?
I have no idea.
Is that just their poopies?
Yeah, like, is that something that's like part of their body that you're just like...
ripping out?
Yeah.
Or does that's like their poops?
No.
God, we have to look it up.
Yeah, clams make pearls, right?
I don't know.
Not oysters.
Yeah, oysters taste like snot.
I like oysters.
Really?
Yeah.
So salty and gross. It's like I'm eating snot running down my nose.
It is hard to get over that like consistency or like the mouthfeel of it. It's something, I tell you.
Yeah.
You shoot them.
Natural pearls are made in certain types of bivalve mollusks, such as clams or oysters. Okay.
Oh, okay.
So make them. Both make it. Okay.
Are they are they something there in there that are like compressing to make it into a pearl? Like, I don't understand that.
I mean,
science.
It seems like we can make imitation pearls today, so we don't need to do it. We don't need to harvest them anymore. Yeah. Oh, check this out. Sometimes a parasite can get inside the shell of a mollusk, much like bacteria infection, and can get in our bodies.
Cool.
Parasite can get in while the mollusk is eating or breathing in a human. What?
Huh?
Oh, in a human, this is often stopped by the snot of our nose and our saliva and our mouths. I don't know what that's. I thought that was a reaction to that. I guess it is a reaction. It's trying to get it out.
Okay.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Annoying as hell.
It's like cold. Right? When you get like your body reacting.
Yeah.
Clear it out. Is that right?
I guess that's what it's saying. This weird website sound center of the cell. I don't know. This guy on YouTube told me so. So this bacteria this parasite can get into the mollusk. The mollusk immune system will be activated. It will irritate the mollusk and cause an immune response. The immune response happens in the formation of a pearl sac.
Whoa.
Around the microscopic intruder. This pearl sac is made of mantle tissue cells. The mantle is fleshy layer. So basically what it's saying is a pearl is snot.
Because of a parasite.
Yeah, and it encapsulates the parasite. That's what it is.
All right. How did that become a thing that people wanted?
Because they opened up and this is Shoney.
Yeah.
Has anything become a thing?
That's true, like gold.
Yeah. People are like buying gold when stuff's down. They're like, I'm going to buy some gold, and then I want to buy some water, man. I want
to buy some water.
Yeah.
Like Fruit Loops.
That's crazy. Oh, we do. Wait, we have a similar immune response in the human body called granola.
Oh, all right. Cool. That's how
granuloma. It's a type of white blood cells that does the same stuff. So, yeah, that's stupid. I don't know. Clams are weird. Taste like crap.
Don't mermaids hang out in clamshells? Is that something?
That's the one Aphrodite, one of those, like goddess of the sea, or the spring, goddess of spring. I think that was just like Renaissance painting type of thing. Okay, wait, let's go back. So we're talking about
Aphrodite. If you want to see how she was created, Google that, but go in safe mode. You guys want to figure that out. Pretty gross. Aphrodite.
I don't know what that is.
Well, you just talked. You just mentioned her.
Oh.
I think it was Aphrodite.
Clams.
No, yeah, but the way she came to be was pretty provocative. I think it was Aphrodite.
I think it was. I don't know if it was.
But yeah, sorry, the clamshell thing, though?
Hold on.
Was that Little Mermaid? Were they hanging out in a clamshell? I don't know. I don't know why I'm thinking that.
Hanging out in a clamshell?
Yeah, those are one of them, like...
Doesn't Alice in Wonderland have that guy eat a bunch of clams? The baby clams? Or he's eating something. Remember?
Oh, what was
that? He was like really messed up, and he's like, I'm going to eat these things. And then she's like, they're babies, and then he eats them. I think it's like walrus or something.
Yeah.
That's dumb. Venus.
But like, that's the Roman one. What's the equivalent? But yeah.
Venus.
Yeah. Look at that, clamshell.
Yeah, I know what I'm saying. You're right.
Yeah.
It's Roman goddess of love and beauty is Venus.
Yep. Like the Greek equivalents, I think Aphrodite.
Greek goddess like Venus. That's how you spell any of that. Aphrodite.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Where the hell are we? China. Okay. So Chinese folklore describes mermaids as gentle, beautiful beings capable of turning their tears into pearls. Which basically means they just have a
parasite
in their face. Yeah. But here's where it gets cool. As if that's not cool enough. Okay. Dragon kings and sea maidens. Okay, this is part of their folklore. In Chinese mythology, the dragon kings are powerful deities who rule over the seas and waterways. Alongside them are their daughters and the sea maidens, who are often depicted as beautiful beings with fishtails.
Right.
These sea maidens play various roles in Chinese folklore, from serving as attendants to the dragon kings to interacting with humans in stories of romance and adventure. There's also the tale of the white snake, one of the most famous Chinese legends. Yeah. Again on my own. Here I go again on my own. The Chinese legends involving mermaid-like creatures and the tale of Madam White Snake. That'd be a cool name for a band.
Yeah.
Madam White Snake.
That sounds
Wasn't there another Madam movie that just came out?
Madam Web.
Is that dumb?
I didn't see it. It looks dumb.
Also known as the Legend of the White Snake. In the story, a white snake spirit transforms into a woman and falls in love with a mortal man.
Did she wear a
jean jacket? Yeah. Madam White Snake's transformation from a snake into a human woman parallels the mermaid archetype, blurring the boundaries between the human and animal realms.
Oh.
And then the tale of the dragon's pearl, which again is just a snot rocket from a mermaid. Another notable Chinese folklore folktale featured mermaid-like creatures in the story of Dragon's Pearl. According to the legend, dragons were said to possess pearls that held immense power and wisdom. The pearls were guarded by dragons in their underwater palaces. In some versions of the tale, mermaids or sea maidens assist the protagonists in their quest to obtain the dragon's pearl, showcasing the benevolent and helpful nature of the mermaids.
So these are nice mermaids.
It seems like it.
Yeah, that's cool.
Good. Yeah. Glad you think that. All right, next we're going to jump to Japan. Obviously, with Japanese culture being really aligned with the sea, this would make sense.
Mm-hmm.
It was kind of the easiest one to see. You know, kind of I want to understand was in that it was like, oh, that makes sense. But like when you talk about Chinese, like these other cultures are like, what?
Yeah.
Yeah. So in Japan, the Ningyo are typically depicted as beautiful and otherworldly beings with long flowing hair, fair skin, and fish tails. Keep going back to that fish tail. They are often portrayed as enchanting and alluring creatures capable of captivating humans and their beauty, with their beauty and singing voices. Despite their alluring appearance, Ningyo are often associated with misfortune and danger. In some stories, accounting a Ningyo is believed to bring calamity and disaster to those who encounter them. Yeah. One example is the tale of Urashima Taro, one of the most famous Japanese folk tales featuring a Ningyo is the story of Urashima Taro. According to the legend, Taro rescues a turtle from bullies and is rewarded with a visit to the Dragon Palace beneath the sea.
All right.
During his time in the Dragon Palace, Taro falls in love with a beautiful princess who's actually a Ningyo. When he returns to the surface world, he finds that many years have passed and he is unable to return to the underwater realm.
That's a shame.
But also, again, Dragon Palace, Chinese folklore, kind of combination of those. Let's see. We're going to go to Slavic mythology.
Okay.
Rusalakas are water nymphs or spirits found in Slavic mythology. They inhabited lakes, rivers, and forests, often appearing as beautiful young women with long wet hair. Always that wet hair. Rusalakas are both alluring and dangerous. They can lure humans into the water, causing them to drown, or they may seek redemption by marrying a mortal. Their stories are rich with themes of love, loss, and supernatural in folklore. Next, the British Isles.
This will be good.
The earliest depiction of a mermaid in England can be found in a Norman chapel in Durham Castle, built around 1078 by Saxon stonemasons. Who the hell were the Normans?
Ones that invaded England.
Where are they from? We're like, Normans.
Northern Europe.
Oh.
Yeah.
Is that where they got their name? Or they actually called the Normans? Like the guy's last name was Norman.
No, they were called the Normans.
Because it was like the region they came from?
Sorry. I believe so, yeah.
Am I boring you?
So no.
Sorry, mermaids aren't cool enough?
So no, William the Conqueror, I believe, was Norman.
Okay.
And then he ended up ruling over England.
Okay. Was they Scandinavian or Northern Europe?
Northern European. They might have, so like, I'm going to say Normandy, but I don't know if that's right.
Oh, look at that.
I don't know if that's right, but it's Northern Europe.
Okay, so that mermaid...
They were called Britons before that. People that lived in England.
Really?
Yeah. I think actually, we'll talk about this again now. King Arthur was part of that whole thing.
The Normans?
He was Britain, I believe.
Oh, he was Britain. Okay.
I think so.
So he was fighting the Normans, probably.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, guess that really worked out for him.
Say William,
Wait, was the Lionheart guy?
William, yeah. I said William Conqueror, right? Not Richard Lionheart.
Oh, that's a different guy.
Yeah, Richard Lionheart was he was an English king during the Third Crusade.
Okay. Man, you're just full of knowledge.
I don't know if this is right.
Who cares? Yeah, people will listen. Okay, so wait, who were the Saxons then? Saxon stonemasons. Norman church in Durham Castle, built around 1078 by Saxon stonemasons. It's a Norman church. Saxon stonemasons.
Wait.
wait.
Hold on. Those.
Stop swimming there, Ariel.
So it was okay. Sorry, people that originally in the British Isles were Britons, I believe, and then the Saxons came in.
Is that where saxophone comes from?
What's that?
Is that where the saxophone comes from?
No. And then the Normans came after that. Once I think the Britons and Saxons like assimilated with one another. I could be. Oh man.
A bunch of white people got together and or fighting each other. Okay, so this strange carving again from 1078 on the chapel, the Norman chapel, was a mermaid alongside 2 leopards in several hunting scenes. Historians believe the mermaid symbolizes the temptation of the soul. Mermaids appear in British folklore as unlucky omens, both foretelling disaster and provoking it. Celtic mythology often featured water spirits and goddesses associated with lakes, rivers, and the sea. These spirits were believed to possess mystical powers and could take various forms, including that of a mermaid. Celtic folklore also says mermaids were sometimes seen as benevolent beings offering guidance and protection to sailors, while there are other stories they were depicted as dangerous creatures capable of alluring sailors to their doom. So,
like sirens.
Yep, sirens and mermaids.
Yep.
Selkies.
Selkies.
Yes, were not strictly mermaids. Selkies are an important part of British Isles folklore. The Selkies are mythical creatures found in the Irish, Scottish, and Icelandic folklore, often described as seals that can shed their skin and take the human form. When in human form, Selkies are often portrayed as beautiful women. Isn't that nice? That's a good one. That's a good story. Selkies folklore often involves tales of tales of romance between Selkie women and human men, as well as themes of loss and longing when the Selkie returns to the sea, breaking the heart of the human male. There's also siren lore associated with the British Isles. They have their own versions of sirens, which were often associated with treacherous rocks and dangerous currents along the coastline. These sirens, similar to the Greek counterparts, were believed to use their enchanting voices to lure sailors to the depths of the sea. Siren folklore served as a warning to sailors about the dangers of the sea, encouraging them to navigate with caution and respect the power of the ocean.
All right. A lot of cautionary things
there was,
going on here.
Yes. There was a mermaids from the Isle of Man known as the Benvari, which are considered more favorable toward humans than those of other regions. So Isle of Man is an isle off the Scottish coast, I believe. I'm going to look that up because I don't want to be the guy that says Scotland and it's not Scotland. It's Irish Sea. Sorry, Ireland. So the Benvari are considered more favorable toward humans than those of other regions, with various accounts of assistance and giving assistance, gifts, and rewards. One story tells of a fisherman who carried a stranded mermaid back into the sea, and he was rewarded with a location of treasure. Another recounts a tale of a baby mermaid who stole a doll from a human little girl, but was rebuked by his mother and sent back to the girl with a gift of a pearl necklace and to atone for the theft. A third story tells of a fishing family that made regular gifts of apples to the mermaids and was rewarded with prosperity.
All right.
In Irish lore, Liban was a human being transformed into a mermaid. After 3 centuries, when Christianity came to Ireland, this Liban, who was a mermaid, was baptized and now is called Murrow.
Murrow.
Yeah.
All right.
So Laban was a human transformed into a mermaid, and then was baptized, of course.
So going back, this has been driving
Normans,
nuts.
the Saxons.
Yeah. So it was Britons first, and the Saxons came. I don't remember who won, but they eventually, like over time, they became Anglo-Saxon, I believe is.
Oh,
yeah, which
that makes sense.
And then the Normans came.
And was it a Norman Anglo-Saxon?
This became England at that point. I don't know. I have no idea. But yeah, the Normans came with William the Conqueror in 1066.
So they came across this channel? The Normans came from, were they part of France? Or I guess Normandy, France? Like, were they
Yeah,
eventually
like
Gaul?
somewhere, yeah. Like, so the Britons were people from, in England. Saxons were Germanic. So I'm guessing the Normans were probably some Germanic place in like northern Europe.
But we jump over to Brazil. What do you think about that?
Ooh,
okay.
All right.
Brazil has stories of the Lara, the Lady of the Waters, originally a water snake. Over the years, though, folklore changed Lara into a mortal woman with long flowing hair, piercing green eyes, who lured men into the underwater palace. And to this day, Lara is thought to be by some to have been responsible for the accidents and disappearance of many men in the Amazon.
Amazon, you don't want to go there?
There's so many bugs.
Yeah.
If she goes with me and she can kill all the bugs, like the fire ants, like they can kill a person.
Bugs alone, man. The
spiders. Oh boy, you walk through and spiders break your face off. Oh god, it'd be hell.
What? Oh yeah. Speaking of Disney,
wait, isn't there like chompy fishies in there?
Yeah,
in the Amazon, like the piranhas.
I think so. Yeah.
Ugh.
Speaking of Disney and mermaids, didn't that like a year or two ago they put one out? It might have been Pixar that did it with the kid that becomes a mermaid.
Oh yeah, that was back in 2020.
Okay,
it's good.
Yeah, I liked it.
It was Italian though.
Yes,
they were from Italy.
Okay,
yeah, that was a good one. I like that one.
It wasn't. Did he become a mermaid or something like that? It's something to do with
it was
water.
A boy was a mermaid. He came up and became a man.
That's
or
right.
a child.
Okay.
Like he got legs or whatever.
Gotcha.
Or I guess he could transform.
Yeah.
What was like if he was in the air, he would dry out and he wouldn't be a mermaid anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, we're gonna jump to the Caribbean, which is probably what most people think about when they think of mermaids, like the history of mermaids, like these sailors coming from Europe to the New World, seeing these things. Mermaid legends across the islands in the Caribbean have their own mermaid legends.
Big with pirates.
What?
They're big with pirates. Or like pirates, in this time.
Who?
Pirates. We've done a couple.
Oh, mermaids and the pirates.
Yeah,
they're friends.
Yeah, no, I mean
they're there too.
That's where that's where I thought like this whole thing started was around this time.
Yes, that's why I want to look into it.
Yeah.
It's like pirates.
I thought it was like this is like when it all started, but I didn't know.
I was like, it's some pirates, it's some drunken pirates seeing some stuff and being like, I like ladies, and that's So again, we're gonna go back to the Caribbean. Throughout the Caribbean, various islands have their own mermaid legends, with stories and encounters of beautiful sea maidens or warnings. Who give warnings about the dangers of the ocean. Sometimes they're portrayed as mysterious and alluring beings capable of being both benevolence and mischief. Mm. There's one specific story, kind of one very famous one called the Mermaid of Black River, which is from Jamaica. This famous Caribbean mermaid legend originates from Jamaica's Black River. The story tells of a beautiful mermaid who dwells in the river's depths, enchanting fishermen with her mesmerizing song. According to local lore, the mermaid is a guardian of a river, protecting its waters and inhabitants. She is said to appear to those who treat the river with respect and reverence.
All right.
Yep. How about Indigenous Americans?
Oh.
Yeah, even they got on board.
Never would guess that.
There's so we're still going through this. This isn't crazy. We're getting towards the end, but I also cut out a lot.
Okay.
There was a story from another Caribbean island, such as Santeria, where there was this Orisha of the sea, which is the mother of all life in that culture.
Okay.
Who's depicted as a mermaid who brought life to this island.
Oh wow.
But we're going to go back to Indigenous Americans. There are water spirits in Native American mythology. Indigenous American cultures have rich traditions of water spirits and mythical beings associated with lakes, rivers, and oceans. The spirits often take a diverse form, including mermaid-like creatures. In some Native American tribes, water spirits are revered as guardians of the natural world, embodying the interconnectedness of all living beings and the importance of preserving the environment.
Okay.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
But think about the size of America, and then going up into like Canada.
Sure, yeah.
Like, I don't know how connected were some of those tribes were with the ocean. So
I mean, you got the Great Lakes,
but still the seas. Yeah, like so it's not just like a sea thing. Where are these stories coming from? I don't know.
That's the mystery, Chris.
That is the mystery, pal. And I'm going to go to our last folklore section. We're going to jump into another section.
Okay. Oh.
But smacking stuff today. Scandinavian folklore. Mermaids are known as Sojojungforar.
Just like defeated.
Yeah. In Swedish, they're Sojojungforar. In Danish, it's Sofolk. And in Norwegian, Norway, it's Sojoknar. There's O's with X's, and I don't know.
Yeah.
They are believed to inhabit the coastal waters of Scandinavia and are often depicted as beautiful women with fishtails. Mermaids are sometimes depicted as guardians of treasure or as symbols of the unpredictable and treacherous nature of the ocean, serving as cautionary figures in maritime folklore. There was a couple stories that I'm not going to go into, but from Swedish folklore, basically a lot of these stories from Scandinavian folklore revolve around treasure.
Okay.
And these beings protecting it or giving it if they, if they are good.
Worthy enough.
Right. There's a lot of them. There's a Danish one that's pretty interesting. The Sea Woman. Anyway. Okay, so that's a lot from around the world. I try to get a little bit of every kind of area, but then
it's crazy how many similarities are with a lot of them from all throughout
the world in time, right? But this next section we're going to go into is reported sightings, more or less in common era, but like not so much popular culture, but like more modern history. Although the first one I go to is Christopher Columbus, so not so much more modern, but like still kind of modern compared to some of the stuff. So these are called reported sightings, meaning that they were written down in some type of log or they were recorded.
Yep.
Reported mermaid sightings have occurred throughout history and continue to be reported in various parts of the world, often in coastal areas and near bodies of water, not bottles. While many of these sightings can be attributed to the misidentification of marine animals, optical illusion, or hoaxes, which we're going to go into at the last thing we're going to, some have captured public attention and sparked speculation. My first example is Christopher Columbus in 1493. During to his voyage to the Caribbean, Christopher Columbus reported seeing mermaids off the coast of Hispaniola, present-day Dominican Republic and Haiti. However, it is believed that what he actually saw were manatees or dugongs.
Dugongs?
Yeah, that's kind of comes up a lot as a dugong.
Dugong.
Kind of like a manatee. A little slender, maybe.
All right.
There's a lot of... I'm surprised how many people have modern history. It's just a mammal.
Right.
Manatee. Basically a manatee.
Doesn't look like a person.
Well, maybe some people. I don't know. I've never seen all people.
Been out to sea for a long time.
Yeah. Also, what's that one thing you get from the ocean? Pirates always get not enough vitamin C.
Oh,
scurvy. Maybe that's what causes it.
Yeah.
I tried to give myself scurvy once. Remember that?
You tried to give yourself scurvy?
Remember in college we tried to do that?
No.
Talked about it. There's like vitamin C and everything. And it's like impossible. We tried it. We talked about this. Maybe it was someone else. Maybe that's scurvy. I never thought I was talking to you.
You tried to get scurvy?
I was like, you remember you had tail, like the fish tail?
Yeah.
You're sitting on my bed.
Yeah. You kept singing to me.
Yeah. I kept on walking off the window or something. I don't know. Walking in.
Yeah, that's why we left the oven on after we made those pounded tater tots.
That was a bad day. Funny, but bad. How about Henry Hudson in 1608? You know this guy?
Yeah.
You know Mr. Hudson?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Explorer Henry Hudson reported seeing a mermaid
I call him Uncle Henry.
Uncle Henry. Uncle Hank. Explorer Henry Hudson reported seeing a mermaid in the waters near the Arctic Ocean during his exploration of Hudson Bay. So it's more northern.
Yeah.
We talked about that. His crew claimed to have seen a mermaid looking earnestly at them from the water, but again...
Looking earnestly?
Yes. It's likely they saw a marine mammal such as a seal.
But they never seen...
I've never seen a seal with long hair. Flowing hair.
Seashell bra.
Yeah, I forgot about that one.
The hair was wet, so...
Yeah, and long.
Yeah.
Back to Brazil, mid-1600s. Danish physician and natural historian Thomas Bartholin wrote about a mermaid specimen caught in Brazil and was then dissected. This guy, Thomas Bartholin, sorry.
He dissected.
But he was the guy who discovered the limbic system in humans.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And then he dissected a potential mermaid. So
where's this mermaid at?
Well, I'm going to get into that.
All right.
Thank you for asking such a smart question. They'll refer to as a text as a seaman, Homo marinus, from Brazil. The account accompanied by an engraved drawing captioned Siren, whose appearance was that of a humanoid female with bare breasts.
Okay.
Also known as a mermaid.
Interesting.
The specimen's body was deformed and without the sign of a tail, which matched the drawing. So the drawing had a tail.
Okay.
The drawing of this. And in the drawing, there was a membrane that joined the fingers.
Like webbed.
Right.
Yeah.
But wasn't, the body didn't have that, but the drawing did.
Okay.
Yeah. Then we're going to jump to 17th century. Visayas.
So the drawer was just a liar.
It's apparently
fake news.
Aren't we all? So we're going to jump to the 17th century Visayas. The Anthropomorphos, Johannes Johnston, Historia Naturalis in Latin, 1657. The Visayas or the Visayas Islands are one of the three principal geographic divisions of the Philippines. A type of mermaid referred to as an anthropomorphos or woman fish allegedly inhabited the Spanish-ruled Philippines, particularly in the waters around the Visayan Islands. And this was according to contemporary writings from the 17th century. The accounts are found in several books on various topics from magnetism to natural history to ecclesiastical history, referring to these beings, anthropomorphous beings. We're going to jump to 18th century Malakas, which is these are like reported sightings. So these are all written down.
Yeah.
Malakas is
Where's Malakas?
The Malakas Islands are an archipelago off the eastern part of Indonesia.
Okay.
Allegedly captured in the Malakas in the 17th century was the so-called Ambina mermaid, which is after the then Dutch province of Ambon. So the leading researcher referred to as Samuel Fallours Serena, after the man who came in possession of it and made an original painting in full color. It was supposedly caught in the Ambon province, which is the Malacca province now, presumably around the years of 1706 to 1712. During this period, Fallours served briefly as a soldier for the VOC, Dutch East India Company.
Okay.
Started in 1706 when he started, but turned associate curate for the Dutch Reformed Church until 1712. He got hold of this thing. The mermaid was suspected to be a dugong in reality. A dugong. The manatee.
Yeah.
We jump back to China. So the Qing Dynasty of 1730, there was the Yuzhong Jawan, which was basically a record of South China.
Okay.
Contains 2 accounts of mermaids. In the first, a man captures a mermaid, or a sea woman, on the shore of the Lantu Island. She looks human in every respect, except that her body is covered with fine hair of many colors. She cannot talk to him, but he takes her home and marries her. After his death, the mermaid returns to the sea where she was found. So,
and
she can't talk. Of course, that's the best way to marry her. Yeah. Sounds like a dream.
She can't talk back.
Yeah.
And this is something that was recorded.
Yes.
This is happening.
1730. In the second story, a man sees a woman lying on a beach while his ship was anchored offshore. On closer inspection, her feet and hands appear to be webbed. She is carried to the water and expresses her gratitude toward the sailors before swimming away. Not too bad. Pretty nice.
Yeah.
We're going to take another jump in time to 2009, South Africa.
Ooh.
Yeah.
All right.
2009, there was reports of a mermaid sighting in the coastal town of Gansbaai, South Africa. Witnesses claimed to have seen a creature with the upper body of a woman and the lower body of a fish swimming in the ocean. Despite extensive searches, no concrete evidence was found to support the sighting. There's also around a time...
Fishy.
There's also around a time that there was that show on History.
Oh, yeah.
Where they're like, the body of truth, I think. And they made
like, oh my God, mermaids are real.
Yeah.
Like that video thing. I was like, come on.
It was like a real show. I remember watching it. I was like, whoa, what is it? And then it looked so fake.
Yeah, they even said like, this is not... I remember they put like a disclaimer up saying this is not...
Yeah, but that was like really hidden. That's why people went back to it and were like, you messed up. I think I got in trouble for that too.
They did, yeah. I remember like people actually being like, oh my God, there's proof.
Yeah.
The real,
they like swam at the camera.
But, like,
it was really...
You can tell it's like not well done.
Horribly animated.
It's like, how would you believe that? I remember having a conversation with who actually did think that that was the case. And I was like, oh man.
Your
got some bad news for you. No.
How about 2009 in Israel? A group of tourists visiting the town of Karat Yam in Israel reported seeing a mermaid frolicking in the water near the shore. The sighting attracted media attention and prompted local authorities to offer a reward for anyone who could capture photographic evidence of the creature. However, no verified evidence was ever produced. We're going to jump to Zimbabwe of 2012. In 2012, reports emerged from a Zimbabwe village claiming to have caught a mermaid in a dam. The alleged mermaid was described as a creature with the upper body of a woman and the lower body of a fish. The incident generated widespread interest and speculation, but was ultimately dismissed as a hoax. Fiji, 2013. Villagers in Fiji reported seeing sightings of a creature resembling a mermaid in the waters near the island of Viti-Levu. Some witnesses claimed to have seen the creature with a human-like face and a fish-like body swimming in the sea. However, no conclusive evidence were ever obtained.
Of course not.
Yeah. All right, so I came into this episode thinking mermaids were just told from drunken sailors, as I said.
Yeah, right.
You know,
Same.
During the Age of Discovery, they're all swimming around. They're all
seeing new things they've never seen
floating
before.
around, right, yeah.
Yeah, scurvy.
Yeah, and
really
so they're on boats
really
for a long time. They're lonely, right. However, all of these examples are from many cultures all around the world over thousands of years.
Which I did
saying
not know.
kind of the same crap, you know, good and bad, sirens and mermaids.
Yep.
What the hell are people what do you think people are actually seeing?
I don't know, man, because like...
And we're going to go into theories next, but...
Yeah, like, the fact that they're, like, spread all over the globe. It's kind of the same thing. It's like, use like a cautionary kind of thing, or like, sometimes they're helpful, sometimes they're not. I don't know.
Right.
I don't know.
It's there's so much from all around the world.
Yeah.
Why are all of these people saying kind of the same thing?
And again, like, this could be information or like stories that are being told that get carried on to, like, you know, through trade and people assimilating in other cultures, bringing their own like stories with them. I don't know.
Even from the American indigenous people of North America,
yeah,
all the way to the Greeks, the Chinese, like
I can see
New Zealand.
I can see in regards to like the Greeks and like the Middle East, because they're constantly at war, like trading with one another and stuff like that. But I don't know, man. But like going from China to, like you said, North America,
Caribbean islands.
Yeah.
I didn't even go into South, like some of the other South, beside Brazil, the other South American countries. Right. Okay. We're gonna go into theories.
Okay.
There are plenty of examples that we just went over of mermaids and folklore and other stories.
Were they just seeing sun dogs?
Sun dogs, yeah.
Swamp cats.
Swimming swan dogs. These theories all have various interpretations, but we're going to go over kind of the common ones that are mostly or try to explain what these people are seeing or why these things are true. The first one, I don't have any order. I didn't have time to put them in an order for you.
Ghosts. Aliens.
Aliens is not one of them.
Oh, all right.
Maybe that makes sense though. Maybe the aliens were.
Did you ever see the movie Abyss? I think it was he did Avatar, Titanic, Jim Cameron.
James Cameron?
Yeah.
Jim Cameron? Is that what you said?
Yeah, he's my buddy.
Jim Carrey.
You know, Jim Cameron.
Yeah.
Old Jimmy C. He did a movie about like underwater aliens.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense.
Maybe that's what we're seeing.
Where are they going to be?
Aliens living underwater.
What's it always that he was like, well, 80% of our water, our Earth is water, and we don't know anything about the water.
Yeah, I mean,
we know more about the moon than the water.
Right? Yeah.
Oh, there's nothing under the water. It's kind of boring. It seems tough to get down there. Yeah, but like, there's a lot of crap down there we don't even know. What's that fish that has like the light on the top? Is that
like
true?
A lantern.
Is it really far down?
Yes, I think so.
Light makes its own light. Bioluminescence. I mean, there's some crazy crap down there.
They found out there's really giant squids.
Yeah.
Which is terrifying.
Yeah.
So why not mermaids? You know?
Yes.
Yes, that's what this whole thing's been about.
Yes, I want mermaids. I'm gonna be swept away.
I want them flip flopped. I want like the fish head of upper torso fish.
I'll take whatever I can get.
Human.
I mean, if you could, I think aliens would be is just as good an explanation as any of these other ones.
Yeah, right.
Maybe they are just this thing comes over, drops them out, just plops in.
Did you ever hear that? This has to be a joke, but like people think octopuses are actually aliens.
Yes. I'm okay with that. They look like aliens.
Yeah. They look weird.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna like fight an alien or fight an octopus. Octopus alien. I'm not gonna fight one. Like I don't like there's some animals I'm like you suck. I'll kill you. But like an octopus, I'd be like pretty hang out with.
Yeah.
I don't like the sticky, squishy hands. Are like,
oh god.
I don't want to like a snake. I'll murder a snake. Did you see that? Gosh, did you see that giant snake they just found? Like the biggest snake in the world.
Is it like an anaconda? Is that supposed to be like one of the bigger ones?
Yeah, this is like bigger than that.
I'm
February 29th.
Amazon of this year.
Researchers discovered the world's largest snake species, an enormous green anaconda.
It was in the Amazon.
Green anaconda. I look at this. There was this picture of this guy carrying this thing.
How big was it?
How big was it? It was big. It was like people carrying it. What was that movie Anaconda? Remember that movie?
That was awful.
That was dumb. That was a dumb movie. So it is the size of the creature was incredible. The female anaconda they encountered measured 20.7 feet long.
Oh my god!
And they're filming a series called Pole to Pole with Will Smith.
Really?
Yeah, he's smacking people from coast to coast.
Welcome to Amazon.
Yeah.
Smacks them, punches them.
There's also they found evidence of 24.6 feet snakes in the same area. They can get up to 27.7 feet long, 3.6 feet wide.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Could you imagine? 1,100 pounds.
It's like something like prehistoric sounding. Something that big, you know?
Yeah. Look at that thing. That's a guy's hand.
What is the part of the snake is that?
That's the face.
Oh, okay.
That's the mouth. A weird angle. I guess you have to talk to Will Smith if you want to see the real picture. He just smack the crap out of you, though. All right, so let me go back here. Marine mammal misidentification is our first theory. One of the most widely accepted theories is the sightings of marine mammals such as manatees, dugongs, or seals contributed to the belief in mermaids. From a distance, these animals could be mistaken for human-like creatures when they surface or swim in a manner resembling a humanoid form. I could see that, but
like, come on,
they didn't have glasses back then, right?
True,
for a lot of times, a lot throughout history. So people still had bad eyes.
Yeah. Also, these are things they've never even seen before.
Right.
Most of them.
And again, it goes back to I tell you, the brain wants to see faces.
Yeah.
And so they can see a face and something they don't stick far away.
Right.
Another theory is sailors' tales and misinterpretations of their tales. Sailors spending long periods of time at the sea often encounter unusual marine life and phenomena. Stories of mermaids may have originated from the exaggerated or embellished accounts of these encounters, as well as from the psychological effects of isolationism, fatigue, and dehydration by the sailors. Because they're drinking...
Lose their mind.
They're not drinking water when they're out there, right?
No,
the water's too dirty, so they're drinking like wine and crap.
Yep. Yeah, they're probably not eating well. They're constantly sick, tired.
Yeah. While on the
these
poop
are
deck.
these are long voyages they're doing a lot of times.
And they're probably bored.
Yeah. The mind will start playing games on you.
They're probably drinking wine, looking at the ocean, being like, well, that's a person.
Rum.
Why is that person's... I'm sure I miss my wife.
Yeah.
Here's another theory is some anthropologists suggest the mermaid legends may have arisen from a cultural memories or collective unconsciousness related to human evolutionary history. The aquatic environment has played a significant role in human evolution. The ancestral memories of life in water could have influenced the development of mermaid myths.
All right.
So just our connection to the ocean and water.
Yeah. Evolution.
Another theory is mermaids may represent archetypal figures found in mythology and folklore worldwide, such as water spirits and sirens or shape-shifting beings. They embody themes of the unknown and allure of the sea and the duality of human nature, serving as symbols of both beauty and danger. So it's kind of like people are seeing them because it's part of folklore across the world. That's why people see them. Because they've been told all their lives these stories about the sea.
They're imagining that these things are there?
Because they've been told their entire life that they're going on they're a sailor out, going across the ocean. They were told about these folklore, so they're looking for them. They're like primed. Okay. They're primed to look for these things. So this kind of this tradition they've been told all their lives about the sea, and they'll resist the siren's call and stuff.
Yeah. Then how did all that stuff start then? That
doesn't really explain that. Yeah. It doesn't explain where it came from.
Also, I was like wondering, like, you see in like those maps from like when the age of discovery, when people are setting sail across the ocean, you see like these weird sea creatures on the maps. Like, what the hell are those? It showed mermaids. It showed like dragons and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think it's probably again just folklore.
Yeah.
Right. But where did that folklore come from?
Right. Or like
the verbal history or whatever they call that.
Oral history. I think it's verbal, the same thing. Yeah.
I'm not a teacher of English stuff. I'm not a teacher of words.
Words?
That's for the nerds. Got stuff to build. See if those words will protect you in a rainstorm.
Words build you a house?
Yeah.
Make
your toilets flush? Yeah.
Go read a
book. All right. Another theory is natural phenomena, environmental factors, such as bioluminescence, mirages, or unusual weather patterns may have contributed to the sightings of mermaids or other anomalous phenomena at the sea. These natural occurrences could have been interpreted as supernatural or mythical events by ancient seafarers, also primed by the folklore.
Yeah.
That was part of their, probably them growing up and part of their history in their society.
Can you imagine seeing like, not even knowing what bioluminescence is from like algae and stuff like that, and like seeing that for the first time, and be like, "What the hell's down there?" Yeah,
I mean, imagine we're just talking about one cryptid here. We're just talking about just mermaids. Can you imagine all the other crap that's out there? There's a lot of other weird crap when it comes to cryptids.
Yeah,
cryptids. Another theory revolves around psychologists and anthropologists suggesting that belief in mermaids may stem from a deep-seated human fears, desires, and fantasies related to the ocean and the unknown. We're just scared.
Sure, yeah.
And so therefore, to help with our fear, we
create stories.
We create stories that mermaids are the ones, or sirens are the ones doing this to us, or giving us these things. Mermaids serve as a cultural construct that reflects societal attitudes towards femininity, sexuality, and the natural world.
Do you think the psychology thing of it is like you said, they're making or giving identity or prescribing their fears to something? Since it's out of like this going, like say you're at sea, like a lot of these things are out of your control. So like I need, other than not knowing, like the fear of the unknown, like if I prescribe this to a certain thing that was told about when I was a kid, like fable, like it makes me feel better.
Absolutely.
About this.
I think that's exactly what they're saying.
I think that's
exactly what. Yes.
Okay.
I think that's exactly what happens. That they're Just like we talked about when COVID was going on in one of those episodes, a couple episodes ago. People needed control.
Yes.
In a way to justify what was going on or explain it.
Yeah.
You know, they put it into other ways. They were scared of it. They went against it, or they wanted to fight back against it, like through
like
whatever
control kind of thing.
Yeah, the control factor. And I think this is another example of that. Like, there's no way the ocean can just take me. It has to be a living being or something. You know, there's no way that we're not going to survive this trip across the ocean, or we're going to survive this storm. The mermaids helped us. Yeah, you know, they saved us. Like, maybe there's intense trauma. You're kind of drunk and dehydrated. You're in an ocean storm. You're like, oh my god, and then like you see something over there. It's like a flash of lightning, and like something that's like a seal hanging out. It's like, oh, that's a. She's telling us it's okay. Yeah. This is a way to calm yourself down. Right. Because I'm sure that other sailors weren't very good, like, you know, good therapists. So they probably had to do something.
But again, I think a lot of this can be. Any one of these could also be coupled with the fact that, like we were saying earlier, as far as one of the theories, as far as being out at sea for a very long time, maybe not well hydrated, exhausted. Like, these can all be paired with. A lot of these you can just compare it, like they can be combined, and it would explain, you know, the mermaids.
So the next part of this, you know, I want to talk about the theories, but also I forgot to put this in here. The hoaxes. There's a lot of hoaxes. The biggest one being the Fiji mermaid hoax, which we went over. There are. I'm just going to quickly just mention these. Okay, There was the Fiji mermaid hoax was the most popular. I think it was the 19th century though. So we talked about a more recent Fiji, but the Fiji mermaid hoax was a specimen that someone in the Fiji area, Fiji Islands, found and passed it off. They mummified it. They passed it off as.
I remember hearing about that. Yeah,
and it was actually a monkey and lower body of a fish. They combined them.
Wasn't that part? Didn't they include that in part of the most recent hoax thing that we were talking about, though?
Yeah.
Was that like part of that
show?
Yeah.
They just stitched them together. The other part is like hoaxes is dedication. Like there's a lot of, and so one of the things is, and it's really interesting that they combine or kind of make these connections, is like artists throughout history painting these things and making people think that they're real. Yeah. As we saw with those other examples, like other reported ones. And then websites, TV shows, you know, social media about this makes people think it's real. It's like a social kind of construct that's because it's on the internet, it's probably real kind of thing. Yeah. And then the last one is just like a lot of coastal communities of local legends, which then lead into pranks involving mermaids, contributed to the belief of their existence. All right, yeah. The people that are like, don't realize it's a prank, think that it's real. Right. You know, that's it.
I think that's definitely, possibility too.
And that's all I have for our
That's
story.
it?
On
after circling the globe?
Yes, on our globe-trotting trail
that's quite the
on the trail of mermaids.
Man, that's crazy. Couldn't believe it.
The Merboys are back at it.
Merboys.
What do you think? I mean, you know, you went over. What is your final stance on this?
I think. Well, I don't think they exist. Kind of cool if they did, though. I feel like that would be
hot.
But yeah, like I don't. I think it'd be cool. Something like that would be cooler, I think, than Bigfoot.
Yeah.
Or the Loch Ness Monster.
I'm sick of Bigfoot.
Yeah.
I'm sick of the Squatch.
The stink ape or whatever, skunk ape or whatever it is.
And that's another example of a cryptid that's all over the world.
Yeah, yeah.
But I'd much rather have a.
But I'm more fascinated by mermaids, like as a thing, because I didn't, like I said, I just keep saying this, but I had no idea like they went back that far throughout history into that many different like cultures and places.
So I mean, that's why it's so crazy. That's why I was like, it's insane. Mermaids are everywhere.
Right.
Like throughout history.
Yeah.
From 3000 to 2800, 2100 BCE, there's records of it.
Yeah.
Ancient peoples were seeing these things supposedly.
Right.
Or having stories about them. What do you think happened?
I do think it was them just being Well,
was it a primed social like physical?
But here's the thing: like a lot of these, this is what keeps throwing me off. A lot of these places, they're not necessarily landlocked. I don't think most of them aren't landlocked, but like you wouldn't think of like China having stories of mermaids. I know they have a sea, they're big bodies of water, but like I would have thought that being a thing there.
Yeah,
Japan, I understand because but
Philippines, I understand. Like that part of the world is there's a lot of that, but and obviously Polynesian makes sense. Caribbean,
like big
areas.
waterfaring societies that are depending on that. I can understand, but like I don't know. So ultimately, I think what like these people might have been seeing, but even way back then, they're not doing they're not doing long sea voyages like they were come the time of like discovery of the New World. So like
they're seeing it, like if they're seeing these things for real, they're seeing them on the coasts, or like near the ocean, or lakes. Like
again, they go out in the they'll go out in the sea and the ocean, but like they're not doing these long sea voyages. Because my initial thought was like they're seeing this stuff because they've been at sea for so long, but like they're sleep deprived, like they're isolated, they're lonely, that might have been eating well, and they're just like they've been staring at nothingness for so long that they start seeing things like mirages, and like their minds are playing tricks on them. And that makes sense for people doing these long sea voyages, but like
not all these cultures are doing sea voyages.
No, that's the thing.
They're still fishing.
What the hell are they seeing then? I think it kind of goes back to like folklore and like more stories of morality. It seems like with a lot of these, which we've been the case I think before when we've done this show, like moral stories of where some of these like
with the Pied Piper.
Yeah.
I think what we have is, I think it'd be simply as something that was kind of entered into folklore, like the culture, through, like you said, protection, like as like a way to justify being why this person died in the ocean and why this person didn't, why this ship survived.
Like respect the ocean.
But also then it kind of filters on into like parents being like, hey man, you go into the ocean, you're going to die. You got to respect the ocetion. The mermaid's going to come get you, or the siren's going to call you.
Right.
Like why did my husband's ship get slammed into those rocks?
Right.
It couldn't have been just the ocean or the wind. It had to be.
It couldn't be his fault.
Right. It had to be this
or her fault,
poisoning of their mind with the siren. I think it's more of just folklore that is. I don't know how it started. I have no idea how this folklore started.
Right.
How any of this in any of the cultures started, especially because it's so similar.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the Greek one to Western culture makes sense, especially with the way. I don't think it's possible. Could Alexander the Great have been the filter for all this story spreading across the world?
I mean, a good chunk of it, yeah, but I don't know about like.
And then it transferred from
maybe in time
whenever he was down in his furthest reaches.
Yeah.
He's heading up into China.
Yeah, Asia.
He
so wanted to keep going east.
Maybe that story was left from Greek mythology and transferred out, but that's still.
I don't know. But you got a lot of it though. Too, these societies like their deities are like water gods, right? Or have like.
Maybe.
Yeah.
But so it's more of what came first and what actually caused them to have that.
Yeah, the chicken or the egg kind of thing.
Yeah. So maybe their gods are water gods because they want to get. It's kind of this thing was like the sea is serving us, or like we have to make sure the sea is happy.
Yeah.
Whenever storms come, the sea is mad.
Yes.
And then they personify that.
Yeah.
That's what I was looking for. They personify that as a deity.
Yeah.
And then that deity thought just goes through. I think it's just like humans are naturally want to see faces and they want to personify everything. Mm-hmm. They don't think the world just works the way it is, especially back then.
Right, yeah.
They don't understand the science of the world and how the world actually works, how storms work, how the ocean works, how currents work, how crops work. And so they had to personify all those things with something otherworldly.
Yes.
Feeding it.
Yes.
Or causing it.
Then like these later explorers who, typically if they're religious, they don't come from polytheistic religious background. So why would they think that like, they wouldn't think that these are like gods or like creatures that came from, some god from weird mating or something like that. But like, why would they then be thinking these things exist?
Maybe they just think they're human beings that were they're a creature we don't know about.
Yeah.
Just happen to look like a human. I mean, it could be as easy as that. So they don't think that they're demons or gods or whatever.
Right.
But some of them did mention
if like a lot of this stuff is passed through time and through oral history, I don't know.
I like the Alexander the Great's sister type of that question that like specifically relating to travelers and
because that's what I think of as a mermaid.
There's
right, and that's
siren.
Too, but like that goes all the way back to 300 BC,
even further 2100 with the Epic of Gilgamesh.
Yeah.
And some type of water person.
Yes.
But I think the other thing I was going to mention is that you have these beings that are in water. They could be human-like or not. Even like the Epic of Gilgamesh goes back, and it's not really clear that it's a mermaid.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like telephone. They're just repeating stories and everybody's adding a little spin to it.
Yeah.
But again, it doesn't explain how it got around the world.
No.
How did all these come to the same conclusion? How do all those, if that's true, that the game of telephone is true through history, how did they all come to the same conclusion?
I don't know. That's the mystery.
A lot of them have a human with a fishtail.
Right. Yeah, why is it not the other way around?
I mean, some of these they don't mention them specifically, but they have like a morphing, something like a morph. But for the most part, they all are fish people.
Yeah.
Or in some way. And there's a lot. There's so many I didn't know. You could see like some of these I just X'd out because I'm like, there's no time.
I'm trying to think if any of these are like landlocked countries that still would have thought of a mermaid was a thing. It seems like most of them. Right. There's a Slavic folklore, so
Germanic tribes. There wasn't something about Germanic tribes. Where was that? It might have been in British Isles. Oh, the sea maidens or swan maidens were Germanic. There's a lot of stuff out there about mermaids. You all want to take a look. Try to solve it for yourselves.
Go down that rabbit hole.
It is a pile of junk. Good information, really awesome information about different cultures. Helps you like understand how people are all connected in some way. Like humans are humans. We have some type of shared reality or shared story, folklore, whatever.
Sure.
And somehow we are connected through that story that somehow. I'm just more interested in how it transferred around the world.
Yeah, I think that's the most fascinating part of it.
Yes, is a mermaid real? Probably not. Yeah. But how did that same story get around the world?
Yeah.
Other than something with Alexander the Great. But that is all I got. That is all we're gonna do. This is a long one, but nonetheless interesting because I wanted to do a short one. So I am glad I stumbled upon this though, because it was a lot more fun than Zodiac as far as information, because it's not as depressing.
Yes, right.
I was in the dumps for a couple weeks doing that one. This one was a lot more fun, and I am glad I landed here.
Yeah, this had some nice stories in it.
Yeah.
Love and
lovers
and fish lovers and
fishy guys, long-haired maidens.
His hair's wet all the time.
Yeah. All right, if you're out there, if you're still out there, still listening, still watching, whatever you're doing, please go ahead and follow us on any social media account that we have active. You can find it in the notes, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, or X, or whatever. Please follow us or give us a subscribe on YouTube. You can find us on all podcast platforms, depending how you're getting this right now. You can also get it as a video on YouTube or as a podcast on every podcast platform. If you're interested in helping us out with the show, have feedback, want to give us some more information or give us some ideas, please email us at mysteriousPalsOnline@gmail.com. You can go to our website at mysteriousPals.com, which has all links to all the stuff I just said. Again, all that's in the show notes, and that is mysteriousPals.com, mysteriousPals.com, www.mysteriousPals.com. And that is all we're going to do today. Next week, some more mysteries abound. And that's how you use it. But I am fired up about
mystery,
and mermaids.
Yeah.
Jordan, thanks for being here.
Thanks, Chris.
Everybody out there, thanks for being here. We love you.
Thank you.
We appreciate you. We want to keep giving you the good stuff in the form of mysteries in history. So, see you next week. Same mysterious time, same mysterious place. Stay mysterious.